by tackling the challenges men face head on so we can fully step into the roles that we are called to fill. We believe that genuine manhood is worth embracing and it's worth saving. It's the path to building strong families, changing our culture, and it's the best thing that we can do to leave a lasting impact. I appreciate the continued support and encouragement. I've really been excited about the feedback that we have so far and the opportunities ahead of us. This is for men and by men. We will grow this together. So thank you so much for your support. If you're new here, welcome. We are just getting rolling with this podcast. And if you're checking this one out, I'm so glad that you're here. I would also ask you to like and subscribe so we can help get this message out. We do not chase numbers, but we do want impact. And impact comes through having subscribers and being able to share this message with others. So I would ask that you follow and share this message with other guys that you know that would be interested. There's a number of ways you can follow us. First, you can go to narrowgatecollective.org and sign up for our newsletter. That will notify you when there's new content, but it will also notify you when there's local events that you can attend in person where we get together as guys, we do some teaching, there will be fellowship and some fun activities as well. So be sure to sign up there so you get notified of those events. You can also follow us on X as well as YouTube. YouTube, I would say, is going to be the sweet spot for most people because that gets you all the video content, including this podcast. This podcast is uploaded to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but it's also put up on YouTube. So that's kind of the sweet spot for everyone to get all the content. So I encourage you to do that. Please help us get this message out so that we can impact as many guys as we can. And I am a dad of 5 and a husband to a wonderful wife, truly a Proverbs 31 woman that you're always hearing about. I know a lot of guys will say, man, my wife is the best. And I will just say that they're wrong. Their wives can be number 2 because mine's number 1. She truly is one of a kind. And our family is so blessed to have her. She's very selfless. She's a selfless woman, selfless wife, mom. She truly is the kind of the rock for our family. And she serves well. She serves our family well. She serves the Lord well. And she's just somebody that has changed our lives for the better. Not that I was on a terrible path, but without her, I definitely would not be on the path that I am on. We would not have the 5 boys that we have, obviously, and life would be significantly different, and it would be much worse without her. I'm so thankful for her, and she truly is a blessing from the Lord. Our boys range in age from 15 down to 2, and most of the people, when they hear 5 boys, their first comment is, their first appropriate comment is, man, that must be chaos. And I'll say they're not wrong by saying that, but it's a beautiful chaos. It is busy, but life is busy. And I don't mean that in a bragging about how busy you are way. I'm actually completely against that. But I do think that there's a good busy, and that comes from us spending time together. You will rarely see one of us without the other 6. That's just how our family operates, and we travel as a big pack, but it's a great time being together. We do life together. Being a dad to these 5 boys is actually my favorite thing in the world. That's actually what started my desire to start something like this. This collective started more from a parenting perspective and has since expanded into manhood. But truly, there's no greater role that I have than to raise these boys, because raising these boys is going to have this cascading effect. And from a discipleship standpoint, that's the best thing I can do. From an evangelism standpoint, getting the word out, the best thing I can do is to grow these boys in knowledge of the Lord and then send them out. And that's an exciting thing, but also a humbling thing. But that's what we're called to do. And I will say, these 5 boys that we have are just such a blessing. They are really good boys. And I'm often reminded, not to sound like a grumpy old man, but I'm often reminded of how good they are when I see them with others. I see other kids, and I'm like, man, these boys are good. And I would just say that that's probably good parenting on my part, All kidding aside, they truly are are good boys. And it is an honor and a privilege of a lifetime to be their dad. As I said before, my desire to be a good dad is what started this collective, this idea for the collective about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more. And I wanted to create something where dads had content and they could grow together. But the more I started looking at the needs of dads, I realized there's general man needs that have to be met in order for us to be good dads. And then I started thinking through how critical of a role men play in our culture, and maybe to say that different, how critical of a role they should play in our culture. But I started to see that there's this pretty big void from where we are supposed to be and where we're actually at. For those that listened to the earlier episode, I explained as this void that men are supposed to fill. Not supposed to be a void, men are supposed to be there due to our own passivity, due to cultural pressures, definitions of masculinity being toxic, etc., or maybe just really bad examples of manhood. That has created this void, and it's those incorrect narratives that are starting to fill that void in. And that's why this collective exists, is to reclaim the roles that we are intended to fill, and to do so in a godly way. You know, I often think back of how this need has changed over time, and I'm actually glad that we're doing the collective that we are now, and not 10 years ago, and certainly not 10 years in the future. I feel like we're in this sweet spot where we've seen pretty quickly how manhood has changed to not be valued. Personally, I have a lot more experience as a dad, as a husband, and so on, a leader at work, etc., and we'll talk about a lot of those things. I have a lot more experience now than I did 10 years ago. That combined with me seeing the trajectory that manhood is on, I really feel like this is the time to get this rolling and to make a difference. So I'm really excited to do that. So that's kind of how it started, but let me tell you a little bit more about the why behind this collective and why I'm so passionate about men being good men. If you look at it from a stat standpoint, the stats are not great when there are not father figures in the home. And I would say ideally, as a father, you're there with your kids, right? But I know that there's broken homes. I know that in some cases there's single parent homes, and there's two single parents. Kids will be with mom for a while, and then kids will be with the dads for a while. I believe ideal is for them to be together in one home, but I am also aware that the way our world is right now, there's a lot of scenarios where kids are with one parent for a few days and they're with another parent for the other few days, and I get that. But when fathers are not present in homes, children are 4 to 5 times more likely to live in poverty. They are 2 times as more likely to not finish high school. 70% of youths in state-operated institutions come from homes without a father figure. And 90% of runaway children come from homes without a father figure. So while these stats are very much father figure related, fatherless is not just the start. It's really the result of manhood issues, which I think have very likely existed for generations. We've been pretty passive over the generations. We've also just been a really bad example of what manhood should be. And I think we're seeing the culmination of that, and these stats are pretty alarming. And it's not just these stats, but if you just go out for a weekend, go shopping, you're going to see broken families. You're going to see father figures present, but not good. It's right in front of us, and I want to do what I can to stop this and redefine manhood. I believe men should be leaders, but being a leader means there's someone that's following. And to have somebody follow you, you have to be worth following. And that's what I want for us as men, is to redefine what it means to be a man in today's world. And honestly, today's man needs to be the traditional man. And as we will talk about very often, it needs to be a biblical man. Genuine manhood is not a new thing. It's maybe a forgotten thing. And I want this collective to bring that back, because I truly think that's how we'll make a difference. So my goal with this collective is for us to grow by reclaiming what genuine manhood is. And I want all of us to see that manhood is something worth embracing. And we are uniquely positioned as men. We are called as men to be the leaders in our family. We are to be providers and protectors, and it's up to us. We are uniquely called to do this, and it's our challenge to step into that role, to those roles, and make a difference. That's what I want out of this collective. What you can expect out of this collective: first, you can expect genuine, transparent conversation. I like to hit things head on. I think that's the honest way to do it, and I'm not great at really sugarcoating anything. Even in my role at work, when there's difficult conversations, the best way that I know to address those is to hit those head on. So you can expect that. But men are not as simple as maybe we are portrayed as being. We're pretty complex. We are dads, we are husbands, we are mentors, we are leaders, we are providers, protectors, all those things. We serve our families, we serve those in the community, we play a part in our workplaces. So it's not just this simple definition of, well, this is what manhood is. So what you can expect from this collective, and specifically with this podcast, is content that is relevant to current events. It hits issues head on, and it's going to span all of those things I just mentioned. It's going to span ways to live at home, ways to lead your family. It's going to span leadership advice, because I know many of us are leaders at work. And I actually subscribe to the thought that even if you are not a leader by title, everyone can lead. I think everyone should lead. But the reality is, not everyone is a good leader. Not everyone is equipped to do that. I hope that we can change that through some of our leadership content. But men are much more complex than we are made up to be. And because of that, our content is going to vary, in some cases pretty significantly, because there's content that I think that we need to address at the workplace. There's content that we need to address in our homes, how we're portrayed in the community, how to leave legacy and lasting impact that lasts well beyond ourselves. There's a lot that make up a man, and because of that, we have so much to get started on, and I can't wait to do it. I hope you come on this journey with us. There's so much for us to do in front of us, guys, and this truly needs to be a collective. It's a collective for a reason. It's for men and it's by men, and I truly think that it's going to be a difference maker. There will be a change in our culture of how manhood is viewed, and it's going to change regardless. One way or the other, it will change. I believe it's going to change for the better, and I believe it's going to be because of collectives like ours that make it happen. So please join us. If this is something that you are interested in, I ask that you follow. Join us on this effort. We have so much to do in front of us. But now is the time. It's up to us, guys. Let's get it.